Welcome to Healthy Living. I'm Lori Johnson. Thanks for joining us. Our topic today is that wonderful blend of physical and mental health. My guest is a sports and exercise psychologist, Dr. Haley Perlis, who is also a former world-class elite skier. Dr. Perlis, it's great to see you. Thanks for being here. We appreciate your time.
I'm happy to be here, Lori.
So you are an author and a public speaker, and you physically counsel a lot of elite athletes, Division I scholarship players, people on national teams, but also regular people, you know, those of us who exercise regularly on an everyday basis. And what all of us have in common is the need to overcome mental blocks. Isn't that one of the main things you help people do?
Absolutely. We all know to exercise is better than to not exercise. But this thing right here, sometimes prevents us from following through on our good intentions.
First of all, can you talk about why exercise is important, why we even need to do it in the first place?
I think the best answer to that question is to ask someone who does exercise when they, for whatever reason, aren't able to for a couple of days or a week. Just look at how they feel and look at their experiences, because they just want to get back into exercise because of how it makes us all feel, how it makes us all think, how it makes us all relate to others. There is nothing that exercise doesn't do for us. And I don't know anybody who after an exercise session says, I shouldn't have done that. So I think we need to flip it around. But there are things that prevent us from exercising. And so I'm here to help us get started and to also sustain it.
Well, talk about people who know they need to start an exercise program and then just can't get off the couch. What do you say to the millions of people out there who just need to get started?
Yeah, so a common story that some people who haven't been able to get off the couch say is, I want to exercise, but I'm too tired. So let's look at that. What's the truth? What have you been physically doing all day? And for many, not all, but for many, we've been sitting all day in front of our computers or standing still. So the truth is that you're physically quite rested, you're emotionally and mentally perhaps exhausted. And the best way to recover emotionally and mentally is to go and exercise. But then people will say, well, I hate exercise. How do I fall in love with exercise? And I will tell you that is the wrong question to ask. I exercise very consistently. I can't tell you that I love it every single day. So the better question is to ask yourself is, what do you love to do? Do you love to be social? Do you love to be outside? Do you love to learn new things? Are you competitive? Do you love competition? Find out what you already love to do in life, and then find an exercise program that satisfies that existing love.
Can you give some examples of, for
Yeah.
example, if you're competitive, what would you want to do? If you're social, what might you want to do? I mean, I recently did a story for the news about the explosion of pickleball, and it looks like pickleball is one of these things that everybody likes to do it because it's really a social sport. I mean, are you talking about like joining the Y and going to the group exercise activities? I mean, what do you mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you love to be social, don't exercise by yourself. Why on earth would you try to fall in love with exercise when you're doing something that is isolating? So pickleball is a great example. If you love competition, pickleball is super competitive and social. So that is what I'm saying. Find an exercise program that satisfies your love. If you love to learn new things, do not get on the treadmill. You already know how to walk right, left, right, left, right, left. Pick up something new to learn. If you are competitive, whether you have to then know if you're like to be competitive against people or just competitive with yourself, sign up for a race, sign up for, a 5 kilometer, walk, run race, or join more of those competitive type classes, fitness classes. If you like to be outside, do not work out in your basement. Get outside, especially now with the time of year. That's what I'm talking about. Don't worry about what it is you're doing. You might have heard that running does this and that, weightlifting does this. Forget about that at the beginning. What do you already love to do? Go find an exercise program that satisfies that love so you start to get into the habit of exercise, which is the most important part.
Is there a better time of day to do it? Is it better to exercise first thing in the morning or after work? What do you recommend?
That depends. So one size does not fit all there. I will tell you that for more people who are starting out, just to get it done, because we come up with more excuses why we can't get it done as the day goes on. And things start to, take over and we might reprioritize. So I do recommend, if you have, if it's available to you, get it done first thing in the morning. But again, I really have to, work one-on-one with you to really know if that's going to be most effective. You know when it's going to be the best time for you. So, be truthful with yourself.
And I really liked how you talked a moment ago about how even you, a lot of times, don't want to exercise. And so really there's a lot of self-discipline built in that you do it even though you're uncomfortable, right?
Absolutely. But I have a magic, call it an affirmation, but I have these words of wisdom that I use for myself. And it is, something is better than nothing. So I have moved away from it needing to be perfect. And I think this is one of the reasons why I can sustain exercise for life. It no longer needs to be perfect. It no longer needs to be the 60 minutes that I wanted it to be, or the intensity that I wanted to be, or to look like this. For example, today I had intentions of going to yoga class, and for time scheduling, I couldn't go. Something is better than nothing. I hopped on my bike for 20 minutes and I did, just a little bit of resistance training after that. Not my best. Something was better than nothing. And now I feel so much better that I did it.
I just love how you keep emphasizing how it makes you feel. But I got to say, I'm sure everybody looking is just like impressed with the way you look, too. You look the way we all want to look. And everybody's probably wondering, what do you do to look like that? Can we ask what your own personal regimen is?
So for me, what I love to do is variety. I am not good with doing the same thing over and over again. So this morning, like I said, I went on the spin bike, and then I actually have them right here, because just before I was doing it, I had these little sliders and I put them on the ground, and I went on YouTube and I grabbed a little YouTube video, and I just did, so they slide. So it's body resistance. I do a lot of yoga. I hike, I bike. So I'm really a variety girl. There are other people who would not be, more of a variety person. They like to stick to a program. Really have to know what's going to work for you. And then again, I do it every single day. I'm not a big believer in 3 times a week to 5 times a week. To me, that's the essence of yo-yoing. You get in, you get out. I do something every single day. It may not be high intensity. I honestly can say that I do something every single day, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Keep the habit alive.
You also counsel some of these elite athletes and people who are at the top of their game, which you were at one point as a skier as well. And so you talk about overcoming these mental barriers, the things that are keeping people from being their absolute best. How do you do that?
One of the greatest tools or skill set that I believe that athletes and all of us can have is the skill of resilience. And resilience, I talked about I've moved away from needing to be perfect. Resilience to me is being the best recoverer. When something goes wrong, which it does all the time, we can learn from those mistakes, of course, but in the immediate presence, what's next? How do I get back up? How do I best recover? And if we can adopt this philosophy of being not about being perfect, we can strive for perfection, but it's not going to happen all the time. So I want to be the best recoverer. And if I get my mind focused on how I can get back up, what's next? That allows me to get back on the path of success very quickly. And then I'm just a healthier, more optimistic, more motivated individual, as opposed to just focusing on all the failures.
Wow, that's very profound. Don't worry so much about falling down. Focus on the getting back up.
Yeah, be the best recoverer.
Recovery. All right, we're going to take a quick break and be right back with Dr. Haley Perlis, sports and exercise psychologist, about how we can be our best. Stay with us. Welcome back to Healthy Living, and we are continuing our discussion with Dr. Haley Perlis, sports and exercise psychologist. And Dr. Perlis, so many people who have children want to get their children involved in sports. Do you think that's a good idea as far as, life lessons, things that can be learned from sports translating into other areas of life?
Absolutely. I think the greatest gift my parents ever gave me, and they gave me many, was the variety of sports and learning to participate and learning to cope with adversity and learning about discipline and learning how to be coachable. There are so many great life lessons that we learn in sports. So I'm a big believer in it.
What do you advise parents to do? Like, when should they get their kids involved in sports? And I have two children. They're grown now, but they were involved in all kinds of sports, individual sports and team sports. But there are parents take a lot of different approaches about how gung ho they want their kids to be and putting pressure on the kids. There's just like a whole, their parents need advice in this area.
They do. Often when parents will come to me because they want me to work with their young children, I definitely have conversations with them. And again, it's not that we're ill-intended, right? We have the best intentions. We just get confused and we get distracted. First of all, I'm a big believer in starting sports as early as you can. Not always formal sports, informal sports where kids can be creative and come up with their own rules and their own games. But I do believe in, getting involved because you learn how to not just physically move your body, but you learn how to cooperate and you learn how to push yourself and you learn how to, again, be a better recoverer, resilient. But I'm a big cheerleader of variety. So I like you and how you parented your children and how my parents parented me, like variety. I don't necessarily want to specialize so young. I want to learn all different types of sports, which will actually only help me if and when I do start to focus on one. The other thing that I really want to focus on is motivation. There are two types. There's extrinsic motivation. I call that trophy, the results, the outcome, the scoreboard, getting chosen, team captain, all these things. And then there's intrinsic motivation, which I call heart. We have to be very careful. The trophy is important. And I know it is, and I love the trophy. I think the trophy is important for us. It's life and we value it, but we can't lose heart. As soon as we solely focus on just the reward, the outcome, winning, making it to provincial, making it to state, as soon as we only focus on the trophy, fear of failure comes in, competitive anxiety comes in, a lot of self-doubt comes in, not enjoying competition anymore comes into play. We need to make sure that we're focusing on the things that we're learning, how we're contributing, all the belonging that we have. When we can balance out the heart and the trophy, we're giving our kids the best shot at really benefiting from sport.
Yeah, some parents can put so much pressure on their kids, and it does a real number on the child. So, is it okay to just be like, have a good time? I mean, you don't want to be focused on winning, right? But then you don't want to go too far the other way, too, and be like, oh, just have fun. I mean, you have to make sure that the children go to their practices and that they don't miss and that they have that discipline to at least go, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it is about fun, but we all know it's not just about fun. But you can ask questions, about how you contributed and what did you learn and highlight your strengths. It doesn't just have to be about the results. Another thing is that sometimes it's best for parents to actually just be quiet and let the children lead the conversation. Often children are afraid to speak because they think um, they should only be focusing on the results. If a parent says, "How does it go?" for somehow, some way, our kids think, "How did it go?" means did I win? Did I score a goal? So parents have to make sure that they're phrasing the questions right. And also sometimes you just need to be quiet and let the kids talk because the kids will tell you what they want to talk about. And it's not only about the results, it's about other aspects, the social aspect of it, the pushing themselves, the learning, this happened, that happened.
And what I find very interesting is you actually counsel a lot of people who are heads of industry, and you're not actually helping them become better athletes, but using those very same foundations to help them be better at business. Can you talk about the crossover there? And really that kind of helps us all be better at our jobs, these same ideas that we use to be better athletes.
Absolutely. So, we say sport is business, business is sport, but mental toughness is mental toughness. Resilience is resilience, and we can apply it to every aspect of our life. So in sports, there's always about, again, mental toughness for an individual athlete to be able to show up even when they don't want to exert every ounce of effort, even though they may not have 100% to give that day, and to understand that it's not always going to be pleasant. Sometimes it will be a little bit uncomfortable. Same thing for people in corporations. I work with executives and everyone at every stage to do the exact same thing. Show up even when they don't want to exert every ounce of effort, even though they only have 70% to give that day. And to understand that there are going to be some discomforts, there are going to be some challenges. And so, how do we embrace those? And then, in addition, we talk about communication and leadership.
Yeah.
It's all encompassing.
All very important too. We're going to take another quick break and be right back with Dr. Haley Perlis. She is a sports and exercise psychologist. Stay with us. Welcome back, and we are continuing our discussion with Dr. Haley Perlis, sports and exercise psychologist. You know, so much of what you talk about with your clients and in your speaking engagements is confidence and how to have, the way we think about ourselves and the way we project ourselves to other people. And how do we have confidence at its very basic level?
Here's the best tool that I can give you in a moment, and it's actually something that I do with everybody that I work with. Think of yourself, go back in time when you felt that you were standing on top of your personal podium. What three words would you use to describe yourself? I want you to choose three strengths. And then every time you walk into a performance, whether it be, exercise or sport or business or personal, every time you walk in to address whatever activity you're addressing, lead with those strengths, at least one of them. So for me, one of my best words is bright. So every time I'm about to engage with a one-on-one consultation or getting up on stage and delivering a keynote, I have one or three, but no more than three intentions. And one of the intentions is to be bright when I'm on stage. I want people to see that energy. I want people to see my passion. When I have that direction to be bright, I'm more inclined to take action on that. And I'm not going to be focusing on all the things that went wrong last time or all the things that I still need to improve. I can focus on my strengths. And when we highlight our strengths, two things are going to happen. We're more inclined to perform better. So success breeds success. We get more confident. And we actually, when we start looking at the ways we are confident, we're actually more motivated to improve our weaker areas because we have the confidence to work on our weaker areas. So it's amazing. Leading with confidence.
And, with athletes, I was looking at your website, you talk so much about visualization, visualizing success, and also our own talk and paying attention to the way we talk to ourselves about ourselves. Can you elaborate on that a little?
Sure. Visualization. The best thing that I can tell you about visualization, kind of going back to that perfection, when we visualize, and I get it, and we need to do that. We want to visualize the perfect performance, right? Striving for perfection. Again, whether it's sport, exercise, or business. But I also want us to start visualizing ourselves falling down and getting back up. Mm-hmm. I want us to visualize ourselves making a mistake and best recovering.
This goes into other areas just besides work and also sports or exercise, but also other areas of wellness. And a lot of us feel like you were talking about with diet. A lot of us struggle with, I'm going to be perfect today. And then if I eat an ice cream cone, well, I've blown it. And, I'm not on my diet anymore. Can you talk about how to use these techniques for maintaining a healthy eating pattern? A lot of struggle with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know how that story goes, right? You were ready to go Monday morning and you set yourself up, and then a couple of things, you eat that ice cream cone, you have the third glass of wine, and then Wednesday comes and you're like, you know what? I've already ruined this week. I'll just do whatever I want and start again on Monday. We don't want that. To be the best recoverer immediately, what is one thing that you can do right now to get back on the path of healthy eating? So it might be right in that moment, having a glass of water. If you can add lemon into that water to get a little bit of those nutrients, go ahead and add water and lemon. The very next meal, set yourself up for something healthy. It's not about what happened in the past. We can learn from that. But in the moment when you're not feeling so great about yourself, immediately get back on the path of success. In addition, ask yourself, What's the time of day when you are most susceptible to your craving? For me, it's the evening.
Hmm.
That I'm more of those like, evening and indulger. If 8 o'clock is the hour where you usually go for something unhealthy, at 7:30 or 7:45, don't wait till 8, but at 7:30 or 7:45, eat, even if you're not hungry, eat something healthy.
Hmm.
So you again give yourself the best opportunity to prevent that evening unhealthy craving.
Fantastic advice. I'm going to do it. 7:30 tonight. I'm going to have something healthy and some lemon water. All right. We're going to take one final break and be right back with Dr. Haley Perlis. Stay with us. Welcome back, and we are talking with Dr. Haley Perlis about that wonderful blend of physical health and mental health, how to overcome those mental blocks. Dr. Perlis, unfortunately, we're almost out of time. Any final words?
The best thing I can share with anyone, whether it's sleep, nutrition, exercise, movement, the most important thing is actually getting into the habit. So you no longer yo yo. And the best way to develop a habit is to set a very simple short term goal for yourself that you can do on a daily basis. Here's the key thing: those daily goals, 100% within your control. Can't rely on anyone, can't rely on anything. And number two, 100% within your confidence. You know you can do it. So, for example, first thing you do in the morning is grab a drink of water and lemon. Easy, 100% within your control, 100% within your confidence. These are the goals that I want you to set to do daily, and then you build up the habit so that there's no more yo yoing.
I feel so inspired right now. Thank you so much for your time and all your expertise today. How can we find out more about you?
Best place is my website, which is Dr. just Dr. Haley, Haley, Perlis, Perlus.com. You can contact me there directly. You can opt in and get weekly videos. Just my website, drhaleyperlis.com.
Well, you are a gift and a blessing to all of us. Thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Lori.
And thanks to you for joining into this edition of Healthy Living. I'm Lori Johnson, and we'll see you again next week. Bye now.